the land acknowledgement. So, in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory, Epigwit. Epigwit Mi'kmaqi is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, future. Tonight's public meeting is to hear comments, questions, or concerns on 3 following applications. First one, the site-specific exemption, 16 to 18 Hemlock Court. Michael Frazier will be presenting that one. And we have a rezoning on Lot 8, Violet Circle. Sonia Kamel, our Planning Officer 2, will be presenting that. And we have a rezoning unaddressed parcel on Mandeville Road. And David Gundrum, our Manager of Development Planning, will be presenting that. So, this meeting is also live streamed on YouTube, and a recording of this meeting can be accessed if anybody wants to access it after the meeting. So, I call on Deputy Mayor Yankoff to briefly go over the order of events for this evening. Councillor Yankoff?
Thank you, Councillor Bernard, and welcome everybody. So just to outline how the evening will go, there will be a brief presentation by staff and by the applicants. After the presentation, the general public will be given an opportunity to speak. Each participant will be provided with 5 minutes in which to provide their comments or to ask any questions of clarification. We will start with members of the public first in the room, and then we'll proceed to those joining us via Teams, if there are any. So far, there are none joining us that way. Council members then will be allowed to ask questions of clarity. Of course, remembering that, we don't show our opinions on the projects as we're still to remain neutral until the process is completed. I just ask that if anyone is joining us through Teams, that while a member of the public is speaking, just make sure that your microphones are on mute, and I ask that you speak good and clearly, state where you're from, just for the public record. And I also will note that any written submissions after this evening's meeting can be sent to the planning department right up till Friday at noon. So that's tomorrow. And with that, I will turn it back over to Councillor Bernard and enjoy the presentations.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Yankoff. And before I call to order, just so if anybody's wondering, the reason I'm up here is our mayor is at a province and city business, and as we all know, our deputy mayor is recovering in hospital in Halifax. So, call the meeting to order. Is there any declaration of conflict of interest? Seeing none, can I have approval of the agenda? Move? No? Go ahead. Just waiting for his mic to go on.
Here we go. Yep. Mr. Chair, just wondering if we can, for all the people that are here, to keep them from being here for 5 and 6, can we move 7 up to number 5 and then 7, 5, 6, just to expedite the process and eliminate them having to hang around?
I have no issue. I'd ask council. Was council okay? Want to move 7 up to? Yeah. Do you have a seconder? Okay.
Second it.
Okay. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we'll move to number 3, and that is David Gundrum presenting.
Thank you, Councillor Bernard. I'll just wait for the presentation to come up.
This is the rezoning unaddressed parcel on Mandeville Road. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay. Thank you, members of council, members of the public in attendance tonight. The following application is an application for rezoning and official plan amendment for unaddressed property identified as PID 440545, bounding onto Mount Edward Road. This is a request to develop existing vacant lands in the future with 3 proposed apartment buildings. A maximum total unit count among the combined buildings would be 87 units based on existing available lot area and minimum required lot area per unit. Subject property is shown on the screen here, 2023 air photo at the southeast corner of Highway 2 and Mount Edward Road. The existing lot is vacant and undeveloped and located at the edge of an established neighborhood, Mount Edward Ward, Ward number 6. The lands are currently within the R1L zone and bounded to the north by the bypass highway, to the west by Mount Edward Road, and to the south and east by existing low-density residential development. An existing easement is present on the property, which is registered in favor of the City of Charlottetown with respect to buried public infrastructure. The requested rezoning and official plan amendment are intended to facilitate future development of 3 apartment buildings having a combined maximum total unit count of 87 apartment units based on available lot area. The proposed apartment buildings would be within existing height limits prescribed by the related R4 zone, and no further relief from standard zoning requirements for apartment buildings is anticipated at this time based on the current concept. And there is a copy of the scaled site plan which shows what the proposed development is intended to look like based on a bird's eye view. With respect to zoning bylaw and legislative requirements, as per section 3.10.3 of the zoning and development bylaw, before amending the regulations of this bylaw or rezoning any parcel of land, council shall conduct a public meeting to receive the views and opinions of the public and the applicant. Council may, for reasons that are in the best interests of the city, reject a proposed amendment to this bylaw without public notice and without referral to a public meeting. In accordance with Section 3.10, amendments to the bylaw and rezonings of the Zoning and Development Bylaw, on February the 6th, 2026, notice of the public meeting was circulated to 32 surrounding property owners within 100 meters, 328.1 feet of the subject property, advising them of the public meeting this evening on February 19th, 2026, and to request any comments and feedback concerning the proposed rezoning and official plan amendment for the subject property identified as PID number 440545. And as of this moment, we've received a total of 26 responses, all stating opposition to the application. And I've left that tally highlighted as the Deputy Mayor noted. We are still able to take in official comments up until noon tomorrow, Friday, February 20th. So again, this is a scaled site plan of what the proposed development would look like. There's proposed to be a right-in, right-out access onto Mount Edward Road to the west over here, and then a 2-way private access, both an in and out, connecting to Lilac Avenue on the east side of the site, and the 3 proposed apartment buildings with parking located to the north as shown here. The next slide is a concept rendering of what the buildings would look like. Again, this is just a concept, and should the amendment be approved and this development go ahead, this could be subject to change through a future building permit process. But this is what the applicant has provided, just to provide a sense of what the development would look like. This would be viewed from the north looking south from the bypass highway. And so just to conclude, the next tentative steps in the process following tonight's public meeting would be a recommendation to Planning Board on Tuesday, March 3rd, followed by a recommendation to Council on Tuesday, March the 10th. But those are tentative dates pending the outcome of tonight's meeting, and I'll turn it back to the Chair for any further discussion and presentation. Thank you.
Have any comments from the public? Okay, and do you want to just state your name for the public record?
Yeah, Dana Blakely.
Oh, come on up to the podium there, please.
I don't do well with the microphone.
Oh, that's okay.
My own voice,
It's
but
okay.
that's fine.
It's for the public record.
Dana Blakely.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yep,
I'm asking the planner, David Gundrum, the Planning and Heritage Department, City Council, Mayor Philip Brown, to deny the request for rezoning of property identified as Mount Edward Road, PID number 440545, from the single detached residential R1L zone to a comprehensive development area in order to allow for the future development of the property with the 3 apartment buildings have a combined total of 87 dwelling units. Numerous concerns regarding the rezoning and building of 3 apartment buildings exist, including, but not limited to, infrastructure costs and prioritization of current neighborhood needs, increased traffic potential for 150 to 160 vehicles, speed, congestion, and hazards, loss of privacy, effect on property values, noise and air pollution, environmental impacts, and more. My family has resided in this neighborhood since July 2003 and paid property taxes much longer than the developer, who took ownership of the land, I believe, in 2008, 2009. We have established rights for services and consideration first. This neighborhood is in desperate need of road and street repairs, resurfacing, installation of sidewalks, street lighting, speed radar signs. A previous application was submitted requesting a speed bump due to an increased traffic and speeding along Fern Garden and Lilac Avenue. This rezoning and development will require infrastructure dollars, time, and manpower to add street lighting, culverts, water and sewer, piped storm water systems. The property is at the bottom of a slope with the potential for flooding. Since the development of the trail side apartments, our water pressure has dropped significantly. In recent years, a number of younger families have also moved into the neighborhood, and safety is a major concern. There are no sidewalks. The potential of 87 dwellings will increase traffic and congestion and impact safety. Additional concerns of tenancy, as control over who rents the units cannot be guaranteed. Units are rented by 2 to 3 often in a house, for example, and far more reside there. Smoking outside the buildings is cause for concern, and fires have occurred as a result at other properties. In the event that units are rented by social development and housing, the potential for low-income individuals, those with mental health and addiction issues, could also all become our neighbors. Community safety for the existing families and children should be a priority. Numbers are also concerning regarding student enrollment at Sherwood Elementary, Stone Park, and Charlottetown Rural. In a recent report by the Public Schools Branch, it stated, as residential developments flourish with increased numbers of children in various catchment zones, schools are experiencing steady growth and nearing overcapacity. Busing is already close, if not at capacity, for our neighborhood. Stone Park was over capacity and required rezoning recently to have the students attend Birchwood, who should, by rights, be at Stone Park. In the recent Public Schools Branch School Study Report, June 13th, 2024, the new school should satisfactorily address current and projected enrollments, but the ongoing construction of residential units within the Sherwood Elementary catchment area will warrant continued monitoring of its enrollments, as growth may surpass these projections. I'd also like to add that noise and air pollution is a concern. 87 units has the potential to add about 160 vehicles. A passenger vehicle emits 4.6 metric tons of CO2 per year, and based on an average of 11,500 miles driven annually, emissions average 400 grams of CO2 per mile. 400 grams times 160 cars is 0.064 metric tons of CO2, representing a significant amount of greenhouse gas. With the current developments in the industrial park and Mount Edward trailside developments, there are impacts on human health, the loss of green spaces and trees to fight our carbon dioxide emissions. The Burts, who are the developers here, have been residents of Sherwood, and as a community member, we're asking for the developer to work with us and the existing homeowners to build something conducive to our community. There's potentially room for 6 to 8 single detached residential homes on that property. The city's master plan has also said property zoned R1, single detached residential large homes And this violates the city's long-term land use plan. In conversations, houses would be conducive to the neighborhood, and townhouses were also mentioned, similar to those on Mount Edward Road. I'd also like to add that in terms of the recent statistics and numbers, that our 2.26 annual growth rate is what we have currently for the city of Charlottetown and area. And PEI's rental vacancy rate is at 2.1%, and that's as of October 2025. So that being said, with the buildings that are going on, I understand there's new developments in and around the former Maple Cottages area. There's also vacancies at Trailside and Towers Road properties that, based on the almost equal annual growth rate of 2.26% and our rental vacancy rate of 2.1%, I really don't understand the need for additional apartment buildings to be going in there. So I ask that the developer would work with the community and build something conducive. There's other numerous issues and concerns that the houses in the immediate area have with respect to privacy. You know, you're looking at 4 or 5 story buildings where people's backyards house pools, play spaces for their children, and all of this is going to be, impacted significantly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else that wants to speak?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Douglas Coles. I'm a principal at Coles Associates, an architectural engineering firm located here in Charlottetown. Thank you for taking the time to attend tonight's meeting. I appreciate that developments like this raise real questions for residents, especially when they're proposed next to a long-established neighborhood. My goal this evening is to clearly explain what is being proposed, why the design has been laid out the way it has, and how the project is intended to fit respectfully into this part of Charlottetown. Is it possible to get the first slide, please?
Are we doing a presentation? Is that we're done? Oh, okay, sure.
Yep.
Hang tight for a second then. I just thought.
Thank you.
Doug, are you doing a presentation?
Yes.
You just have the 5 minutes, right?
I'm here on behalf of the applicant.
Okay. Anybody comes to speak, it's 5 minutes, yeah.
Okay. We'll do our best in 3 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, no.
The proposal before you is a residential development on the lands along Mount Edward Road between the existing residential neighborhood to the south and the 4-lane provincial roadway to the north. The project consists of 3 separate 5-story apartment buildings, each designed as its own individual block rather than one continuous wall of development. Can I have the
Point
second,
it right at the screen. I'll do it from here.
second slide, please?
It's not working. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Carry on. I'll go get IT.
Okay. In terms of traffic and access, the development is planned with a convenient right-hand entry, right-hand exit off Mount Edward Road. This also means an extension of the median on Mount Edward Road to ensure that there is no left-hand drive turn available for traffic heading south on Mount Edward Road. A secondary 2-way connection will be available from Lilac Avenue. All of this is to say that vehicles will enter and leave in a predictable and controlled way, supporting safety for both drivers and pedestrians. I also wish to confirm that the proposal has been circulated and reviewed by key public safety agencies. Charlottetown Police Services and the Charlottetown Fire Department have reviewed the development as presented this evening, and both have provided feedback which has been incorporated into the design. If you could go back just one, please. Thank you. As David pointed out, that's not going to work. As David pointed out earlier, there's a right hand in and a right hand out off of Mount Edward Road, and the median has been extended to the south. Therefore, people driving south on Mount Edward cannot turn into this development. They've got to approach it from the south. Also, given that Mount Edward Road is a key arterial route and the adjacent 4-lane roadway is under provincial jurisdiction, the Mount Edward Road entrance also has been reviewed by the PEI Department of Transportation and Infrastructure based upon the inclusion of their suggestions around the right-hand turn in, right-hand turn out on Mount Edward Road, and the extension of the median, preventing a left-hand turn into the proposed development. The department currently holds a no objection to this development. The location itself offers significant benefits that support the overall planning goals of the city. The site is close to major services and amenities, Queen Elizabeth Hospital, pharmacies and healthcare facilities, shopping, restaurants, professional and retail services, and the Charlottetown Airport. It is also near the PEI Humane Society Dog Park, which is an added benefit for pet owners. Importantly, the development is located along established transportation routes, including the T3 transit bus route. It's also well positioned for active transportation with access to major city streets and connections to the Confederation Trail. This means residents can stay connected without relying entirely on vehicle traffic, which is especially relevant for senior-focused housing. I want to highlight a key physical feature of this site that influences everything about the design, which is the topography. Next slide, please. Thank you. The development land sits approximately 15 to 20 feet lower than the existing residential properties to the south and the east. That means that even though these buildings, as presented, are 5 stories, their perceived height and visual presence from the neighborhood is reduced because they are set down into the landscape rather than being built up to the same level as the homes. This natural change in elevation provides an important buffer. It also allows the project to be screened with thoughtful landscaping, tree planting to soften views and strengthen the transition between existing homes and the new buildings. Next slide, please.
Doug,
Yep.
I will tell you, I did make a mistake. I didn't realize you're not down here. I didn't realize you were presenting on behalf of Bert, so you do have 10 minutes in total, another 5 minutes.
I'm about halfway through.
Okay.
I'll proceed with haste.
Okay.
In terms of the buildings themselves, each of the 3 apartment blocks is oriented so the primary balconies face north, away from the residential development. This is an intentional design choice. It reduces overlook into backyards, it reduces privacy concerns, and it focuses the outdoor amenity space of the residents toward the quieter, less sensitive direction. The 3-building approach also has another benefit. It maintains view corridors. By keeping the buildings separated, the development avoids creating one continuous 5-story facade. Instead, there are open spaces between buildings, allowing view planes to the north to remain available from parts of the existing neighborhood. This is not a design that is trying to dominate the area. It is a design that is trying to respond to the surrounding context and minimize impacts where impacts matter most. The intended residents for this project are primarily seniors and senior-friendly tenants. The building will offer modern interior design, finishes, and fixtures, and it will include secure entrances access for safety and peace of mind. There will be common areas suitable for social events and an exercise studio to support healthy, independent living. The development is also planned to be pet-friendly for small pets, recognizing that pets are often an important part of quality of life for many residents. Parking will be accommodated with underground parking and storage options, which reduces surface parking and supports a cleaner, greener, more landscaped site. The intent is to prioritize attractive outdoor space, tree planting, and property enhancements rather than an asphalt-dominated layout. From an environmental perspective, the project is designed with energy efficiency in mind and includes green energy building system design. This supports reduced operating costs, better long-term sustainability, and aligns with modern expectations for responsible building performance. The exterior elevations have been designed with a modern but restrained character, with clean lines, balanced proportions, and materials that are intended to blend with the neighborhood rather than clash with it. As stated earlier, the massing is broken up deliberately so the buildings do not appear bulky or imposing when viewed from surrounding streets. With that in mind, I'd like to walk you through the remaining renderings. Next slide, please. This perspective highlights how the buildings sit down on the lower portion of the site, how the landscaped edge will create a buffer between the development and the public roadway. Next slide, please. This is probably the most sensitive view and demonstrates the benefit of existing grade difference. From this angle, the buildings appear lower because the development is set below the existing homes. You will also notice once again that balconies are maximized on this side, with primary balcony space oriented to the north. It also illustrates how the three-building layout avoids creating a single continuous wall of development. Next slide, please. This view reinforces how view planes and spacings have been retained and how the site landscaping is intended to frame the buildings rather than overwhelm the area. In closing, I wish to emphasize that this proposal is intended to provide much-needed housing in Charlottetown while still respecting the existing community. The design uses the site's natural topography, building orientation, spacing, and landscaping to reduce impacts on neighboring homes. It provides senior-friendly housing with modern amenities, secure access, underground parking, and energy-efficient building systems, all in a location close to transit, services, and healthcare. Thank you for your time this evening. I welcome any questions and appreciate the opportunity to converse with you and hear feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. And again, the podium's open for anyone from the public who wants to make comment or any questions.
Robert McDougall, before I go up there, I just have a real brief thing, whatever this hasn't been brought up. With the proposed extension of the road from Canadian
I will still need you to be on the record, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, Robert McDougall, just wanted to bring to the point that a lot of the people in that neighborhood, whatever, are really concerned with the extension of the road coming from Canadian Tire up to Ash Drive and how that's going to impact all the traffic. And now with this, putting these apartments in there, whatever, how that's all going to flow with all that. So that's the only thing I just wanted to bring to the attention, is that you have that project going on with unknown results, and then you're going to have these apartments. So, thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Adam McDonald, resident.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us to this beautiful room and preserving the character. The area in question was intentionally zoned for single-family homes to preserve a specific scale, density, and character. A multi-unit building conflicts with the established planning and look of the neighborhood. Approving one of these will set a precedent for further intensification. This could gradually transform our entire neighborhood. I have 4 little kids under 11, and this is a walking and biking neighborhood where children are encouraged to be outside and walk to school and to Mulberry Park and to the trail, and elderly are regularly biking and walking as well. The Mount Edward Road right-hand turn exit would not address the majority of people who would be traveling downtown. Most people turn left onto Mount Edward Road, not right. Emergency vehicles would most likely travel on Fern Garden as they come from the highway. And 5 stories is much higher than a 15-foot slope or some grass that looks long. Preserving this room is important. we should do the same for our location. The trees that they have shown us take a long time to grow. We have a lot of hurricanes. Those trees may never grow. Underground parking takes up more of that space underneath, so the long grass isn't so long. And the angle is from a person standing from the highway, looking up. From someone standing on Fern Garden, looking over, it would look completely different. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Claire Dunsford. My wife and I live at 13 Fern Garden. I'm just wondering if you can bring up that screen that shows basically this, the houses and the access roads.
Can you bring that up? Okay.
While he's looking forward, my wife and I have lived there going on 33 years. We've enjoyed it. The last 4 to 5 years have become a real thoroughfare, especially now with all these new apartments that are at the bottom of our street now. But if anybody can see this, where the access road to come out on the Lilac, our house is right there. You must live on the airport. And I heard Mr. Cole's talk, but there's all kinds of school buses every time, well, whenever school's in, school's out, and they go exactly around that Lilac Avenue. And they stop there too. And they stop in front of our place. But that would be about the worst thing you could do because there's so many children on Fern Garden now. And with the traffic now is unbelievable. And to add all this to it while we have all those other apartments is crazy. And on one of I guess this thing here, it says right behind our building, they're going to put another playground. Well, right around the corner from us on Lilac, there is a playground, a really nice playground. Lots of kids use it. I guess the biggest thing I have a problem with, and I have nothing against development, I think it's great, but we know that area, we've been there for going on 33 years. And to put an access road there with so many children, is the guy, my neighbor who just spoke, but people go through there and they cut through there now to bypass the lights, I guess, down there by the Toyota dealership and things like that. But this access road coming out onto Lilac is just, well, the whole thing's nuts. I got nothing against development, but anybody who's lived there like us can tell you this isn't right for this area. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse here, but I guess that's my main concern.
Yeah.
And the other thing I just want to say before, I see in my letter here too, it says Press for Time. Well, Press for Time's got nothing to do with this. Press for Time's located downtown Charlottetown. That was just one of my emails that I used to send it.
That's okay. Yeah, we've seen that.
Yeah,
That's okay.
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I wanted to say. I have a real problem, so does my wife, with this access road. I have a real problem with thinking you can pull onto Lilac Avenue where you have all this traffic and kids and school buses. It's
Okay. No, thank you.
Tiffany Wanacott, I just wanted to third the motion of that access road going onto Lilac Ave. I live on Regal, which is right, and it's not on the map, but it's right there. I have 3 kids, and constantly there's more and more kids in that neighborhood. You see a new stroller probably every 3 months. I'm not exaggerating. And a different variety of ages, from tiny babies in the stroller to what Adam said, 11-year-old. There's constantly kids being added to that neighborhood. First of all, we don't have any sidewalks. So I've had to teach my boys that corner around Lilac is a blind corner. So we have to stay so close to the shoulder, almost onto Adam's yard, so that if a car does come so fast down that road, which it already does, so adding apartment buildings to that lot is only going to increase the amount of people coming in and out of there that aren't going to be looking for children at all. And children we try our best to teach them to obviously look out for cars, but they don't. Like, they're only 4 or 5 years old, right? Like, they don't know. So to have to think about that even more so is like a huge concern. And it's not only one apartment building, but 3 apartment buildings of like a variety of age of families going in. And it is a very family oriented neighborhood. And the fact that we are just going to create more traffic coming in and out of that is really concerning to me, especially around that corner, because that corner is already so blind that to just add more without the addition of like sidewalks and lamps and I don't know what else to add for the protection, the speed bump even, is like my biggest concern. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Greg McCollum. I'm at 82 Lilac. If I could have the picture back up, that would be appreciated. I'm 4 houses up from the turn where in question. That's me, the 4th house up on the right. We've been there for 23 years. You've already heard from my wife, Dana. I'm going to focus just briefly on the traffic issue. I can't emphasize this enough. We have 12 children under the ages of 11 within less than 100 meters in 5 houses from that turn where you're proposing to put this access to these apartments. I wait at the bus with my granddaughter who lives with us. She's 11, with Tiffany's children and other children every morning. And believe it or not, as we're waiting for the bus for that 15 minutes, we have people speeding up and down Lilac with kids standing there waiting for the bus. It's ridiculous. I put in an application for a speed bump 2 years ago. I hand delivered it to the city here. I haven't heard anything back. So I've tried to take steps to put a speed bump in. I've heard nothing back. I'm really pissed off. I don't know how to say this politely, but I'm really pissed off. And I'll just leave it at that. It's a safety hazard as far as I'm concerned. You're going to add 87 units. That's at least 87 cars. And they're going to be going, I guarantee you, they're going to be going up and down Lilac. So what are we going to do about that? I disagree. I don't think we need these apartments here. 2 questions I'm going to leave you with. Why the CDA? Why not an R4 or an RT3 and other varieties here that my wife has written down? Why is it a CDA and what is a CDA? If you could explain that to us before we leave, we'd appreciate that. 2 more things to add. Concepts to change with the building application. Is that once these buildings go in, what's to stop you from changing the size of these apartments, the number of apartments, and so on? And if I've missed something, you can correct me. And I understand the target population might be seniors, but that's not controlled or guaranteed either. So a couple of questions. I'm trying not to sound pissed off, but I am. Thank you for your time.
Greg, I will say, just, it is just an application. There's no decisions to be made yet. That's why we have these public meetings. So, okay, yep, no, thank you. Anyone else?
Jamie McDonald. I just have a couple of quick points. I live a little further down on Lilac, and our front deck overlooks Mulberry Park. And as the residents have said, speeding is a major issue. Now, the city has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of building a rink, putting in disc golf to invite residents to the park. Now, when there's a soccer game, a baseball game, disc golf, everything going on, the overflow traffic parks on Lilac, which is basically 2 lanes with no shoulder, no sidewalk, anything like that. So you're basically down to a lane and a half. If you introduce at least 87 more cars speeding down that straightaway, it's only a matter of time before a child gets hit or they have to get a ball or something like that. Fern Garden as well is so narrow, 2 cars go side by side down there. There's no shoulder for anybody to walk on, no sidewalk. We just don't have the infrastructure in the area, as with a lot of the city right now, to house this sort of building. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yep.
Hi, I'm Erin McGonnell. I live at 7 Fern Garden Drive, and we've lived there, me and my husband and 5 children, for the last 19 years. I understand that you're hearing a lot of the same issues, but I feel it's important to reiterate our safety concerns regarding Also, the Blind Hill on Mount Edward Road. When you're coming towards the bypass, this area is already congested with multiple serious accidents a year at that intersection. Adding 3 apartment buildings is going to increase these risks and become more dangerous. The Lilac Avenue, Gamwell Avenue is already a very narrow turn. With additions to these apartments, add serious traffic risks. Additional residential units may lead to overflow and ongoing waste management issues. The existing residential zoning was an important factor for my husband and I in our decision to buy on Fern Garden Drive. We also have 5 children. We wouldn't allow them to walk around that corner of Lilac because there's no sidewalk and speed has always been a factor. I would ask any of the councilors to just take a drive down Lilac towards Gamwell and see the narrow turn, especially when you meet oncoming traffic. That's everything. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Aaron. Any questions of clarification from council? Justin, go ahead. Council Matard, I should say.
He's the counselor of the area.
Sure.
No, I appreciate that, Justin. This is not. There you go.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I just want to see if someone can answer the questions of Greg, I guess, for the
Sure.
CDA zone. So I was asked David if he could answer
Sure,
those for
yeah.
clarity, please.
Thank you, Councillor Duran, and thank you to Mr. McCallum. So the first question, why CDA? So that's the Comprehensive Development Area Zone in the city's zoning bylaw. The CDA zone is kind of like, I like to call it a sandbox zone. It's like a make it what you want zone. There's no set setbacks or building heights associated with it, but it does have to defer to other zones for those regulations. So when we have vacant parcels of land in the city where you can be a bit creative, I'll call it, with those parcels of land, that's generally what the CDA zone is reserved for. Just an important note that Mr. McCallum brought up about changes to the concept in the future. If this is approved, if it is approved, the CDA zoning that would apply to the lands would lock in the concept as shown. So the developer, that's an important thing to keep in mind here, because if it was R4, R3, and we rezone to those zones, the developer could easily change the concept and alter it, and what you see is not what you get, or what you get is not what you see, is what I'm trying to say. With the CDA, if this is approved, if it would lock in the site plan as has been presented tonight, so it would have to be 3 5-story apartment buildings, 87 units total, and if any minor changes even proposed, they'd have to come back through this process again, go through a public meeting process again to make any fundamental changes to that design concept. So in essence, this is more restrictive for the developer, but it also allows, you could say, more creativity, so to speak, in one sense. In terms of the target population, there's an old saying in land use planning that we don't zone for people. We can't. It's a human rights thing in essence. So we can't control who lives in these buildings after they're built. That would be up to the market to decide and the owners to decide who they want living, if these are rental properties. If they're for purchase, if they're condoized, that's a whole nother discussion. But I just wanted to make that clear that we can't make a determination through zoning as to who the occupants would be based on any personal attributes whatsoever. So I hope that answers the questions. Councillor Duran? Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. Greg?
Yeah, your question.
Well, the only issue I wanted to bring up was just about
I really need you at the mic. Sorry, guys, but I have to have it recorded.
I was just bringing up
Yeah.
Robert McDougall again.
Yeah.
The issue about the extension of the road from Canadian Tire coming up through to Ash.
Yeah.
And how that's going to impact, because that's been the talk of the neighborhood for for quite some time, which hasn't happened yet. But once it does, we don't know what the impact is going to be as far as the traffic coming and going, how that's going to affect Fern Garden or Gamwell or any of the other streets that are in that area. So that's my only issue.
Yeah.
Can I add one thing?
You go ahead, Claire.
Claire Dunsford again. When you said you don't zone for
CDA.
who's going to live there, but you got to zone for safety. You know, and I didn't even mention we have 6 grandkids that like to go to that park. Plus, there's all the postal boxes there. So, and I understand you can't be biased or whatever, but you got to zone for safety. You got to use, you know, use common sense.
Yep. Thank you. Councilor Matera, you had a question for clarification? Oh, okay.
Okay. Through the chair, Councillor Bernard, Councillor Duran, rather. Mr. McDougall's question about the road extension, we don't have a firm target date for when that might happen. We just don't know right now. We know that it's in the Public Works Department's on their radar to happen. One thing that I'll add that should be known, if it isn't known by everybody in attendance, the city has commissioned, the city is working on a traffic background study for this general area right now. We have CBCL Engineering that's been commissioned to conduct that study, but we don't have the results of that study yet. So I just wanted to make that known tonight. It is known in some circles that that is ongoing work that a consultant that's been hired by the city is conducting. But and the linkage that Mr. McDougall referred to would certainly factor into the recommendations that that study will bring forward in the future. So I just wanted to make that known tonight. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Councilor Matera. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I thought we were still doing public stuff.
No, we are.
Joel Legault, 88 Lilac. My wife and I live directly to the east of the development, where the neighbors sharing a property boundary with the proposed development. Can we see the site plan on the screens by chance?
Yep.
The one that shows the proposed access off Lilac, if possible. The reason I want to show it again is just to emphasize that the turn on Lilac itself is already greater than 90 degrees. So adding this access is pretty much essentially making it a Y intersection with the amount of traffic that'll be accessing these apartments of 3 apartments that were built to house 87 units.
Right.
The other thing, the site plan seems a little bit different from the one we had, because this shows even less parking than what I received in the mail. Like, that looks like 16 spots. And I didn't see anything about underground parking for the apartment units themselves. To me, this sounds like it's going to lead to a lot of street parking along Lilac, because it's not going to be on Mount Edward Road. Again, adding to the traffic issues that have been brought up all night. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Doug, did you want to answer that?
Yep.
Okay.
If you take a look at the line that outlines the 3 buildings, that is the outline of the underground parking for 87 units. So this is not surface-mounted parking. This is underground parking for the 87 units. The gentleman before me was correct. There are 16 above-grade parking spots. Those will be for visitors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. Is there anyone else in the public who wants to speak? If not, okay.
Kathy Dunsford.
Kathy, yeah.
I live in 13 Fern Garden.
But the other half.
Yeah, the other half. So on one of those, I just want to clarify, it shows coming up Mount Edward, coming up Fern Garden, and then going up Nottingham, onto Ash, onto Gamwell? Was that?
Just one second here. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm wondering, like, is that going to be restrictive, or, and then if that is how it looked, well, that's what it looked like to me in one of them. If you're going to have another flow of traffic from Spencer Avenue onto Ash and this onto Ash, is that what you're hoping?
No.
Well, I think it might have been in the Coles one, but it did show this. It did have arrows. Anyway, I just asked a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want to reiterate too, of some, we're in Fern Garden for nearly 33 years.
Yeah.
And when we looked at the house, we asked our realtor, David Corrigan, what is this land? Like, is it going to be an asphalt plant? Is it going to be, whatever? No, it's a single family dwelling. No problem. So we moved in and we've been there for 33 years. I'm telling you, if you put an access onto Lilac Avenue, my grandchildren will not be able to cross the street to the park that is right next to this gentleman's house over there. Because right now, we walk them across. They're 9, and 7. And yeah, the little kids park. And I'm telling you, if people can't get on to turn left on Mount Edward Road, everybody will use that access. Because unless you want to go the highway, go to the liquor store this way, go to the QEH that way, people are going to come there, they're going to come up our streets, and they're going to be heading in town. So I'm telling you, this is a terrible idea, but anyway, that's all.
Thanks. Anybody else from the public before I go to elected?
Hi, Joe Hughes.
How you doing, Joe?
Good. Sorry, Derry. Well, everybody else pretty well talked about everything, but I live there since 2004, and it's a residential area. I think the council take a drive out there some evening. Bobby would know. I walk my dog all the time, and there's kids playing on the streets, and there's families out and about, but putting something like this monstrosity in the back of our residential landscape is beyond any of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, as you know, we're totally against it. We're not against developing, but this is not even close to being anything to be voted on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Do we have any questions? Oh, okay.
I was hoping to get out of it because I'm Pam Josie, and I live at 9 Fern Garden Drive. And as you look at those buildings, you have one setback, you have one a little bit forward towards the highway, and you have another one set back. That building that is set back is right on our fence line. And I know you talk about the drop, or the grading drop, but that grading drop, I don't even think it's 15 feet. I know everybody's saying it's 15 feet, but I don't think it is. Yeah. The other thing that has been mentioned is property valuation. And when we think about putting in a really high-density apartment buildings in a residential area, it's going to significantly devalue our homes. The traffic has been mentioned already. A lot of my points have been mentioned already. But I do want to say, with that 87 apartment or units, with, let's say, an average daily trips of 6 or 7, this is just some research that I had done, with the peak hour trips, it's projected that we're going to have about 35 to 50 extra cars on the road during peak hours in that little neighborhood, along with the school buses. And in the run of a day, about 500 to 600 vehicle trips on those roads, in addition to what's already there. Many years ago, we have put in requests to have the traffic looked at, and it wasn't adequately looked at. They would come out and put up a radar. People see a radar, they slow down, the radar gets taken down, the same thing happens. Fern Garden, Lilac, there are a lot of kids on those roads. Lilac, even more so now. That talk about that turn has been said many times. But I just want to say that I just hope that people look at the infrastructure, the compatibility, the long-term safety, the livability, and the financial impact to the existing residents will be taken into consideration before being approved.
Okay. Thank you. Doug, did you want any closing remarks? Okay. That's it from the public. Questions? If not, I'll go to the elected for any clarification. Councilor McTaggart, it's your turn.
Thank you, Chair. I do have 3 points I'd like to make. My first point is to seek some clarity from Manager David regarding your comments on CDA. You indicated in paraphrasing that it's somewhat of a sandbox area that can be developed and zoned and with not a lot of restrictions. So we're here tonight only to hear at a request for rezoning from R1 to CDA. Although we do have a proposed plan of what might be developed on there. But again, that's just a proposed plan at this point, correct?
Yeah.
Through the chair, Councillor Matart, you are voting on a rezoning to CDA, but at the same time, I want to clarify and be very clear here that you're also voting on a rezoning that would permit the development, the concept plan that's proposed. So the concept plan that's being proposed goes along with that CDA rezoning. It's almost like it's a site-specific permission for that particular plan.
So, so if it's rezoned CDA and the developer decides not to proceed for years to come, at any point in time down the road, then can that CDA can anything be then essentially put on there that fits within CDA, or is it still bound by the application that we see here in front of us this evening?
Through the chair, it would be bound by the application that you see in front of you tonight. So any major significant deviation from that would require a whole new rezoning application. So what if you approve, I'm just saying if, you would be approving a rezone to CDA that would lock in this development concept. So this is the only thing that could be built. And if they deviate even so slightly from that, we'd have to reconsider it through a whole new process like we're doing right now.
Okay, so then hence then that goes back to why you indicated an R4, which I think one of our members of the public asked, why aren't they zoning an R4? And in fact, an R4 would allow for less restrictions, I guess is what you're saying. So there could be changes to that concept plan if in fact they were doing R4, is that what I understand?
Correct. Through the chair, Councilor Mattar, correct. You're correct. So if they were asking for a rezone to R4, and this is the concept plan they're proposing, they're not locked into that concept plan. But by virtue of going through the CDA, and the CDA doesn't have any specific permitted uses list at all. There's no permitted uses in the CDA except what is actually approved on a site-by-site basis through the rezoning to CDA.
Okay, thank you. And my second point is, throughout our package this evening, it talked about the entrance off of Mount Edward Road, the right in and the right out. And I believe it said that was pending provincial government approval. I know that Doug mentioned it, but I didn't catch whether or not he said that that had been approved by the provincial government or not, and whose responsibility is it to seek that approval, and how do they provide that that's been approved?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Chair. Through the chair, Councillor Matart, we don't have any written approval from DTI at this point in time. It is within, it's not on their corridor, but it's within their area of influence, I'll call it. So they do have to provide written approval, in essence, or support to that right in, right out, which we don't have at this point. It's the responsibility of the city to seek that, to confirm that that's okay by DTI. But I will also note that that access is on a city roadway, a city corridor, but because it's within so many meters of the bypass highway, we also have to seek consultation and confirmation from provincial DTI as well.
And just for further clarification, he is correct. We've met with DTI. We have received a no objection. We had conversations with them. We've incorporated into the drawings what they asked for. They said we have no objection. We brought it forward for application.
Okay. And just thank you. Doug, just stay there for a second. And my last comment, and I'll ask either to Doug or to the property owner if Mr. Bird is here. I'm not sure if he is or not.
No, he had a conflict, sorry.
Is it reasonable to expect that at least one car per unit for this development?
We have designed the underground parking for city bylaws. I don't know what the actual count is.
Okay, can Mr. Kundrum address that?
Through the chair, Councillor Matarda, it would be a 1-to-1 ratio, so 87 units means 87.
So it's
minimum-
reasonable.
minimum
Reasonable to
87.
expect 87 cars at the minimum. Is there anything to prevent the possibility of 1.5 cars per unit? So in other words, 130 cars on that property. Would there be anything to prevent that?
Through the chair, Councillor Matarda, there's nothing to prevent that, although, parking spaces cost money. Usually developers only build to the minimum spec, 1-to-1. We don't require anything beyond that, but if they build beyond, it's at their discretion whether they do that or not.
Okay, so then ostensibly then any number of parking spaces above the requirement could be incorporated into that. Okay, so at a minimum, 87 was part of the minimum requirement. Okay, thank you very much.
Councillor McAleer?
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. Just resident Claire Dunsford and I think a couple others have, raised a safety concern, and I'm just wondering, David, the comment was made. I think Claire said, does the safety question come into your decision making at any point? I know, I've come to understand. With the planning piece, there's a certain lens and that you folks work with and bylaw and what have you. And then further to that, you mentioned the traffic study, and I know we shared a timeline of going to planning board, coming to council March 10th, but I can't imagine a traffic study would be done before that. And would you anticipate wanting the results of that traffic study before finishing your final report?
Through the chair, to the councillor, we defer to City Public Works because there are resident experts on the traffic piece. Planning, we act as a bit of a coordinating department in some sense, so we wouldn't make the call ourselves on whether a site-specific traffic study is actually needed in this case. Although Public Works has commissioned CBCL to do a much wider background study for a much larger catchment area in this vicinity of Mount Edward Road and Highway 2 and does incorporate this property along with many others, including the properties on St. Martha's Court and others further afield. But at this point, we do have written comments from Public Works, and they didn't raise any major concerns with this development, although they did make note that the access to Lilac, they had some level of concern, and they noted that a three-way intersection would be required, like a new stop sign put in if this were to go ahead. But they didn't ask for a site-specific traffic impact study to support this development, if that helps. Yeah.
Greg, I think you want to make comment?
Greg McCollum, just one more quick comment.
Yeah.
Thank you for your information on the Mount Edward Road access. I understand it looks like it may go ahead, but is there a chance that it may not? And if it doesn't, looks like you're stuck with Lilac as your 100% entrance to and from the apartments. So if by chance the Mount Edward Road access doesn't happen, you're stuck with us in Lilac. Is that true? Thank you.
I'm confused, and I don't mean to be. DTI has provided a no objection to that entrance off of Mount Edward Road. For fire safety services and police services, 2 entrances are required to that development. We cannot have an entrance off the 4-lane highway, so it's got to be Mount Edward Road and or Lilac. So just to think that Mount Edward Road would not happen does not suit the circumstances that we're now in.
Right. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. Councillor McKinnon, did you have a question? You got your mic on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone, for coming here tonight and expressing your concerns. So, traffic study was one of the questions that I did have. So, to Mr. Gundrum, I do have some questions for you as well, Doug, but is it safe to say that we will wait for the study to be completed before this resolution will come to council for a vote.
Through the chair, Councillor McKinnon, we can circle back to Public Works right after tonight to ask them, in their professional opinion, whether that's warranted or not, whether we should pause based on sober second thought, you could call it. There's the next steps that I laid out in my presentation are just possible dates based on what's in the calendar currently, but if we get further advice and guidance from Public Works to delay based on work that's happening in the background, we can certainly do that. So, and based on the feedback from the public tonight to prompt them to take a closer look at this, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, more questions, Mr. Chair. To Doug, sorry. When, if this got approved, when would construction start? And on an updated site plan that you issued to us tonight, I'm assuming this came from you? An updated? It's an updated site plan, it's different than the one that was in the package?
Want to bring that up? Jason?
I don't think I have the updated one. Did we see this one?
It was on our desks here tonight.
I didn't get a separate copy.
So on this one, as you can see, Doug, it's showing 18 parking spaces. My question for you, it's showing underground utilities and easement. The roadway that you're proposing covers the easement as well as 18 parking spaces. Is that, to cover it over?
The easement allows them the right to dig
Yeah.
at any time, repair whatever's underground.
So they can just rip up the road if they need
Can you
to.
grab the mic there, Doug, please, when you're responding? Respond there again.
The easement gives whoever has services underneath or within that easement the right to dig and repair as required. So to dig up a road, to repair a pipe, or to repair a communications line, it would be no different than out in front of my house.
Okay, and of these 34 parking spots above ground, are some of these, that subtracted from the 87 that you
No.
were saying that are underground?
87 underground.
Plus 34
Yes.
above ground.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Question, clarification? Okay.
I want to take this opportunity to, excuse me, to thank everyone for coming out tonight. A lot of correspondence, a lot of concerns expressed here tonight. One of the concerns, Mr. Dunsford talked about safety. There's a lot of public works issues that were echoed here tonight. A lot of public works, and David, you have all of those comments, you know, as far as neighborhood safety, no sidewalks, narrow streets, speeding traffic, a lot of young children in the neighborhood. So as the chair of Public Works, I'm going to be talking to our senior staff in Public Works to come in and do a snapshot of this community with all the streets that are funneling into Lilac and Fern Garden, and look at what we can do to make the improvements and enhancements from a Public Works perspective. So that's something that I'm going to pursue as the chair of Public Works. The request for speed humps, I will be talking to senior management. Your point's well taken, and I will be talking to senior management in Public Works to see where that request is and how come it hasn't been addressed. So regardless if this development goes or doesn't go, we got a lot of work to do in this community. We got a lot of work to do. And I'm going to be honest with everyone here. It's not going to happen in, this summer, but I want to make some improvements, do some design work, and and again, have our senior staff and Public Works come in and do a snapshot of,
Councillor, I'm going to have to interrupt because it's just supposed to be questions of clarification.
well, it's not only clarification,
We
it's
have
answering, no, Chair, it's also talking about some of the concerns that were raised here tonight,
Yeah.
right? From a lot of these issues that brought up were Public Works issues. So I think it's incumbent upon me as the chair to demonstrate to the folks that I've been listening
Yeah,
to some of the issues.
Yeah, I understand, but
So,
our rules following, we listen to what the public has to say.
Yeah.
And elected is any questions on clarification from that application. That's the questions that we're asking.
I know, but still, I want to,
So we're looking for a question of clarification on the
I
application.
understand that, Chair, but a number of times people come up to the podium and talk about concerns from a Public Works perspective. So the onus is on me as the chair to demonstrate to these folks that I've been listening.
Yeah, I think the CAO, that's why he's in attendance, because the CAO hears those comments and he writes them down and he deals with them. That's why we're just here for
Yeah,
clarification.
I understand
It's the
that.
CAO's role.
I understand that, but again, I'll reiterate, it's important that they hear from us, the elected officials, in our role, to ensure that we're listening and that we're going to pursue and examine some of those safety concerns.
Okay, thank you
Right?
for that.
Right? So I just wanted to bring that forward. And
Thank
The
you
oth-
for that.
okay, the other thing is the traffic and the proposed Spencer Drive, where's that traffic going to go? That's another major issue for this community. So we got a lot of work to do.
Julie or Councillor McCabe or Deputy Mayor, do you have any comments, either one of you, before we wrap this up?
No, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you, Councilor Bernard. No, any of the questions I had were answered in terms of just making sure the public understood what CDA zoning actually was.
Okay.
So I don't have any other questions, but thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank everyone for coming. Really appreciate the feedback. We'll move now to the next one on the agenda, which is rezoning Lot 8, Violet Circle. I believe Sonia Kamal, you're online to present this?
Thank you, Chair.
This is on my list of Sonia.
What order does it change to?
Jason, can you put up the presentation?
Well, I always move to the middle one. Do you want to go to the first one? Okay, all right. Okay. Just give a minute to clear out here.
I'm pretty sure it's Violet Circle's next.
Okay.
I think, which is Michael Fraser.
So Violet Circle was second on the list. Are we dropping back up to the top? Yeah.
Michael is right.
Yeah, no, I got it. Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we'll deal with site-specific exemption 1618 Hemlock Court. Yeah.
He's gone up to his public. That's fine. We got going.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Michael Fraser. Do you want to start the presentation, please? Go ahead, Michael.
Perfect, thank you. I'm here to present 1618 Hemlock Court, PID 452672. It's a site-specific amendment request within the R1L zone. The Planning and Heritage Department has received a request at 1618 Hemlock Court to permit up to 3 units in the single detached R1L zoned property, whereas only 1 unit would normally be permitted, and doing this by a site-specific amendment. And there's a bit more context as to why that's being pursued. The subject property is located inset from the corner of Hemlock Court and Wedgwood Avenue within the single detached residential R1L zone. The surrounding properties consist primarily of low-density R1L and R1S zones. though the area also includes some institutional zoning, mostly at the end of the court. Good. Just kind of going back to that context, the property is currently developed with a legally non-conforming semi-detached development. So despite it being in the R1L zone, the development pre-exists the rule in which it would be limited by. So that considers it legally non-conforming. So essentially the semi-detached dwelling is legal in its current state. This application is intended to permit the addition of a third unit largely within the existing form. And I just want to quickly note that this third unit cannot be considered a secondary suite because it is in a semi-detached dwelling, and that is currently not permissible within our bylaw. As seen in the proposed site plan, the proposed development will occur largely in the form of the existing building with a bylaw compliant rear addition for, I believe it's an entrance and one room on the main level. Parking is intended to be provided via existing driveways. As per section 310.3 of the zoning and development bylaw, before site-specific amendment or any parcel for any parcel of land, council shall conduct a public meeting to receive views and opinions of the public and the applicant. Council may, for reasons that are in the best interest of the city, reject a proposed rezoning without public notice and without referral to a public meeting. But if the application goes to a public meeting, then council shall determine the disposition of the application, and the applicant may not be allowed to withdraw the application after the public meeting. On October 19th, 2025, council approved a request to proceed to public consultation. This meeting has been, I believe, twice delayed due to weather, and so this is the first meeting that has occurred since then. As per section 310.4 of the zoning and development bylaw, a mailed notification letter was sent to owners within 100 meters, a minimum of 7 calendar days prior to the public hearing date, and that was done on February 6, 2026. A total of 25 letters were sent to residents advising them of the public meeting to solicit their comments and feedback, and to date, no written responses have been received. So here's our intended next steps. Depending on the results of this meeting and the ability to prepare a report, we are intending to go forward with whatever the recommendation will be for the planning board on March 3rd and the council resolutions for the March 10th meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Michael.
No worries.
Any comments from the public?
And I don't believe I have an applicant here, as far as I'm aware.
Okay. Any questions, clarification from council? Councilor Bittard?
Thank you, Michael. I apologize, I don't quite, I'm just trying to understand a little bit more about the legal non-conforming, is that what it is for that particular area? So permit up to 3 dwelling units in a single, can you show it on the map there?
For sure. The zoning map, the colored map?
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful.
Okay, just whenever the presentation's up, I'll get there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Do you want me to explain a little bit more on the legally non-conforming?
Yeah, like I guess I'm trying to understand that particular property there, like what it is they're trying to do there with like, because I know, I feel like we've had the conversation about this one before. There's, right next door, there's a daycare, there's another building, but this one is, what is the one that's right there?
So this parcel is developed with a semi-detached dwelling, so a side by side.
Yeah, side by side, yeah.
In other places, you may, the form of the third unit would look very similar to a basement secondary suite. It's housed under the primary dwelling units.
So it's below the two there?
Below the two, yeah. The reason it can't qualify as a secondary suite is because our current bylaw says that a secondary suite can only be housed in a single detached dwelling. So it would look very similar to what we would consider a secondary suite, but within a semi-detached dwelling. In terms of the legally non-conforming status, things that were present prior to rules that limit them are considered legally non-conforming. So an existing semi-detached dwelling in R1L is existing legally in the city. And so we would have no reason to legalize this. We would have no reason to rezone for what's currently there or to do a site-specific amendment for what's currently there.
Okay.
But it's the third unit that is now prompting us to come to council and ask for that permission.
But the third unit, based on our package and the hand-drawn sketch, looks like it's an attachment to 16 on the backside.
Yeah, there's an entry addition, and then there's a stairwell down into the basement.
So is the entry addition, is that a livable entry addition, or is that?
I believe there's a small vestibule, but I don't have complete
Sure.
floor plans of that
Okay.
level.
Okay, so it's not changing, it's just adding to the back of it and then underneath it. I guess I just don't understand. Basically the basement half of 16 will be converted into living space,
That's my understanding, yes.
which obviously won't compete over the 18 because it's probably the firewall in between there. But then I'm saying that the diagram in our package, which we don't see up here, shows it says, I believe the pen chip here shows extension room or expansion room.
Yes, I
Oh,
believe
it's there
so.
too, okay, yeah, that's
So
what I'm
the
looking-
side entry there, I can get the,
Looks like there's a deck and right.
there's
right
essentially
there.
the entrance from the driveway into the set,
Yeah.
into the unit.
And
I
it's
believe
got
there's
the-
a staircase in this corner over here.
It's gonna go down to the basement.
Yeah, to go down to the basement. And I believe that this level has a washroom, and I believe that the use of this room is a small, like, living room space. I don't believe the kitchen is on that level.
Okay.
All good, Counselor?
Yeah, so I apologize, I don't fully understand the non-legal stuff. So in other words, we're not changing the zoning of this property.
No.
It's already conforming, legally conforming.
Yeah.
And so as council, we're gonna vote whether or not we support this extension.
Yeah, so in terms of the legally non-conforming status, when we amend anything that has been, like, the term that we would normally say kind of casually is grandfathered.
Okay.
So if something has been grandfathered in because it existed prior to the bylaw, when we amend something that was already not meeting its current zone, which is R1L, that then triggers us needing to come in for a site-specific amendment
Which is why it's here.
to permit that extension beyond what was legally non-conforming or grandfathered.
And does 18 inherit that too?
No, it would be for the third unit only. It wouldn't be like a rezoning that would give new land rights. It is specifically written towards the proposal at hand.
Thank you.
No worries.
A little bit confusing.
Counselor Twill, do you have a question, clarification? Okay.
Tell me what the difference is between site-specific and spot zoning. What's the difference?
Our bylaw doesn't use the term site zoning or spot zoning in like this way. I can't think of a use of it in our current bylaw. In this case, this is site-specific amendments are usually for more minor things than a rezoning would have to have. So it's for a smaller scale of use. And it is specific to, I believe, so if I was to rezone a parcel and write rules for that, that would then proceed beyond that development. It's a change to the land rights beyond just that proposal. Whereas this, I believe, is specific to the third unit on a legally non-conforming semi-detached dwelling. The mics are giving us trouble, eh?
No? Okay. So once again, you can't outline what the difference is between a site-specific or spot zoning? Maybe, David, could you?
Through the chair, Councillor Twill, just to kind of echo what Michael already explained.
Right.
Spot zoning would be like a rezoning, so going from R1L to R2. Like, kind of the slang, one way to say it is like, I'm spot zoning this. If you're in a sea of R1L, like a neighborhood that's entirely the same zone, and you were to change the zoning on one parcel, you would consider that spot zoning because it creates like a spot on the zoning map, which is at odds or different than what's around it. And site-specific is you're maintaining the existing zoning that's in place, you're not changing it. You're just writing in like an extra rule to allow for something extra within that same zone that otherwise wouldn't be permitted. Yeah. You're welcome.
Councillor Randy?
For that, and just to piggyback on Councilor Tart's, so when this comes to council, we're just gonna, whether we approve it or we say no to it, right? Because it's only an amendment, yes.
Yeah, the what is voted on is to add an addendum saying that this site-specific
Okay.
amendment.
I was just trying to
applies
understand
this
it there.
PID.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councillor McCabe or Deputy Mayor Lana, any questions on this application?
Oh, thank you.
No?
No, and I'm good as well, Council Bernard.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. Thank you again, Dave. We'll move to the last application, the rezoning Lot 8, Violet Circle. I believe Sonia's online. Sonia? You hear us?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you turn that up a little bit? It's hard to hear.
That's her.
Yeah, she said she's there.
Yep. I know, but the volume's low. Sonia, can you hear us?
Yes.
There you go. Okay, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. This is a request to amend Appendix A, future land use map of the City of Charlottetown official plan from low density residential to medium density residential, and amend Appendix G, zoning map of the City of Charlottetown zoning and development bylaw from the low density residential single R2S zone to medium density residential R3 zone to facilitate the future development of a proposed 4-unit building, which is a stacked townhouse at Lot 8, Violet Circle, bid number 1187913.
Okay.
The subject property is a vacant lot that from part of what would be considered a greenfield or new subdivision development that is currently still under construction and expansion at the present time on the basis of prior approvals. Most of the properties within the existing plan of subdivision in this area are currently zoned R2S, which allows for residential dwellings in the form of single detached, semi-detached, and duplex dwellings, but does not have any allowance for stacked townhouse dwellings as proposed. Requested rezoning and official plan amendment are intended to facilitate future development of a 4-unit stacked townhouse, and the proposed structure would meet all setback, lot area, and lot frontage requirements of the R3 zone based on the concept plans provided. As per section 3.10.3 of the zoning and development bylaw, before amending the regulations of this bylaw or rezoning any parcel of land, council shall conduct a public meeting to receive the views and opinions of the public and applicant. Council may, for reasons that are in the best interest of the city, reject a proposed amendment to this bylaw without public notice and without referral to a public meeting.
Sure.
In accordance with section 3.10 of the zoning and development bylaw, on February 6, 2026, notice of the public meeting was circulated to 11 surrounding property owners within 100 meters of the subject property, advising them of the public meeting on February 19th, and to request any comments and feedback concerning the proposed rezoning and official plan amendment. To date, no written responses have been received. This is the site plan and floor plans. This is a concept rendering. Next step would be tentatively, the planning board would be on March 3rd, and then it's going to go to the council on March 10th. This is the end of my presentation. I can answer any question. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. Any comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, any clarification from council? Councilor McCabe?
Thanks, Terry. Nope, just another rezoning in the new subdivision.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Yankoff?
I'm good too. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
I just want to say, I'm here representing this proposal.
Yep.
And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah. Yeah, could you state your name?
Tyrell Doucette.
Ty. Okay, thank you, Ty. Ty, it doesn't appear there's any questions.
Easy.
Councilor Twill, you have a question, clarification? Okay, go ahead.
Tyler, you look at what you're proposing here, how does that blend in with the adjacent properties?
Actually, quite well now. They're all duplexes that are built in
Okay.
there now, and there's been approval of probably 6, at least, that are built right now of 2-story stackable 4 units.
What's that?
Right across from my lot there.
Ty?
Yeah.
You're closer to that mic, we're not picking you up,
Sorry.
buddy, sorry.
It blends in well, as there's already lots of new construction duplexes in there, and there's been approval on probably 6 stackable 4 units already that are being constructed as we speak, including right across from the proposed lot.
What would you say the majority, if you were to take a point and do a circle around there? So it's all pretty much duplexes or more?
All brand new construction duplexes and 4 units now.
Okay, thank you, Tyler.
Seeing no other questions, thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming in. Thank you again, Dave. Thank you, Sonia, and Michael. And I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councilor McKinnon, second by Councilor Ramsey. Thank you very much.